Tone Deaf is the journey of a theater nerd, bringing musicals into the life of their musically challenged spouse.
This show is rated explicit for mature content and strong language.
I'm sorry for me.
Spoilers are in every episode, so if you haven't seen the show we are reviewing, you can always check back in later with us.
We'll be here when you get back.
Welcome to Tone Deaf, a theater nerd's guide for their musically challenged spouse. I'm Kay, a musical theater nerd.
And I'm Warren. I'm musically challenged.
So, we are to the Land Before Time XII, the great day of the Flyers. It's been an adventure so far. We've got 2 more movies and the entire TV series to go after this one.
Yep.
Until the Land Before Time 15, we just don't give a shit anymore. Here, put your kids in front of it and make them fucking watch.
Land Before Time 15. It's a movie.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. So, on paper, I should like this movie more than I do. And I kind of like it, but I also kind of hate it. It's complicated, and maybe I'll like it more this rewatch, but when I first saw it, I just was like, come on. Enjoy having numbered titles, though, for these, because this is the last one to have a numbered title.
Were they trying to trick their audience into realizing that it hasn't gone on as long as it has? And they're like, hey, if we take away the numbers, they'll stop going. They're still doing these, and they'll just go, another one!
I seriously wonder if they didn't want to acknowledge how many they were up to after this point, because it's like, it's gotta be that some exec went, oh, shit. How many? Shit! Then again, the next one being 13, maybe they felt that it would be bad luck, but I'm like, it's already a bad movie.
From what I understand, yes.
13 is horrible. This one's not horrible, this one's just meh. But fun fact, this one and the 13th movie were both released in 2007. This one was released in February.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Did they take a year off in between other releases? I can't remember.
For a little while they did.
Okay, so they must have been working on, because it takes time to do these.
Yeah.
Just the animation alone is the most intensive part, so.
Yeah. And like we talked about with Land Before Time 4, these were done like a year or 2 in advance each time. So, yeah, they probably went, oh shit, we better release the next one as well, and I think part of the reason may have also been because of Universal Animation Studios having issues, because that's what led to the TV show ending. Because the TV show wasn't terrible, as we'll see when we watch it. It's not great. It's not Steven Universe, but nothing is Steven Universe. So, this was announced at the same time as the TV series, and would be the first one filmed in widescreen and animated in digital HD. Fun fact, character animator Skip Jones from the original film returned to do some of the character animation on this one, though most of the character animation was done overseas by this point. This film has Rob Paulsen quadrupling roles in this one, so he plays 4 different characters this time around. And this is also the only one with Nick Price as Littlefoot. Previous ones have had Gabriel Damon in the first one, Scott McAfee in 2 through 4, Brandon LaCroix in 5, Thomas Dekker in both 5 as the singing role, and then 6 through 9, and then Alec Medlock in 10, Aaron Spann in 11. Do you know one way we could have had less recasting of Littlefoot?
If they just killed off the character?
I was gonna say let them grow. Like, I don't understand why that's such a problem in kids' media.
It's kind of the exception to have characters age up even a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess they're trying to maybe make it timeless, or their mentality is that there's always a new crop of sperm tumors every year, like
maybe like
to sit down in front of it. I don't know, but at this point, I feel like the smarter move would be to, every 3 or 4 episodes, maybe have them change. Episodes. Every 3 or 4 movies, have them change a little bit,
Yeah.
We could see Sarah start getting her brow horns.
Yes. It really bothers me. And this one, actually, speaking of Sarah, is going to make you sit there and go, let her grow already. Come on. Just because of another character that gets introduced that's going to lead to some Sarah character growth as well. And this is going to be a character that reoccurs in the TV series as well. But I sit here and go, did they think that they should just do the Peanuts thing? Because Peanuts did this, where they would have child actors that were just kind of rotated out as with each special and with each TV show. And with Peanuts, it kind of was okay because it felt more authentic than this does. Like the writing did. So, because otherwise I'm sitting here going, just let them grow up like we had with Steven Universe, where they grew up.
See? And I was going to make the joke and be like,
baby steps, when did you get so mature? Somewhere between my mom dying and me saving the sky from falling.
Oh, man. But anyway, enough ranting about that part. Like I said, we have some new characters introduced, with one of them being related directly to a character introduced into the last episode, which leads to our Sarah character growth. And this is another case of this character being introduced to give Sarah some character growth was done better than the time that they introduced characters for Secret of Saurus Rock to give Sarah something to do. And I really, I like this better. And that's one of the things that I feel is a strong suit in this movie. Now, this will be a Petri-focused movie, and it'll actually focus more on him and his immediate family without all the touchy uncle stuff.
yay!
Yeah, thank God. There is a song in this one which is Flip, Flap, and Fly, that is, according to the wiki, a parody of Flip, Flop, and Fly from the far superior film Chicken Run. They also reference the superior film Jurassic Park 3 in this movie as well.
So they got to the point where they've hit the Warren wall, where they've run out of original thoughts and they're just now making pop cultural references.
And, like, they don't do it in such a way that it's obvious, but if you know what they're referencing, then it's, oh, okay, kind of like the Free Willy one. Actually, I think they're less obvious than the Free Willy one from 9. That one pisses me off every time. They're, speaking of Flip, Flap, and Fly, a 3-minute version of that song played before the Curious George movies in theaters, allegedly, and it's actually pared down a bit for the final movie, and I'm okay with that. This one has some interesting reviews that I've seen. A lot of them were kind of like, well, it's harmless. It's a movie.
It won't teach your children about the dangers of race mixing.
But Nancy Davis Coe worried that Petri's speech pattern in this would lead to kids talking that way, which, fair, but also I didn't see any of that for any of the other movies, so I think it's a little too late.
That kind of argument, I think, is pretty dumb, to be like, well, this character talks like that. Kids are going to talk like that. It's like, there was a period of time where I talked like Jar Jar Binks just because I could do that voice. Didn't last.
No. No. And I don't think that anyone looks at Petri, even in a Petri-centric movie, and thinks that is... I sit here and I go, he has a vocal tick.
He doesn't have a normal cadence.
Yeah. Yes, it's an annoying vocal tick, but it's still... It's not like they're saying this is the proper English. No, you've got plenty of other characters, and even in this one, if I remember right, they try to give a little bit of a, oh, that's right, Littlefoot's our main character, no matter what.
Oh no, we almost forgot that we have to focus on Littlefoot every movie.
And I can't remember completely if this one does that, but I don't think it's as egregious as in other movies, because in other movies it really pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah, because they try to do something different, and then they have to, like, rubber band snap back to
Littlefoot. And it's
Littlefoot.
like, no, keep the camera away from him. This was interesting. But we all know why you're here.
Dinosaur facts.
Yes, dinosaur facts! I haven't been doing that for a while, and I realize that.
Caw-caw! Caw-caw! Caw-caw!
You know, I could always just splice in the Derby and March on one of these. I've got the sound of it, so.
Forever, forever.
So, this week, you're going to be guessing again.
I guess often.
But I mean, like, this is a guessing dinosaur. And it's one of...
The Whoasaurus.
God damn it. This dinosaur is one of the reasons that I should like this movie on paper. This week, we're covering a very important dinosaur discovery. This is a Chinese dinosaur found in Liaoning, China. It is a small dromaeosaur growing about 2.5 feet long at the largest and weighing just over 2 pounds, and it's represented by 2 species in its genus. The movie is going to choose the most famous of the 2 as evidenced by the character's name. I'm not telling you the name yet, because it's a goddamn pun again. Anyway, it is one of the most well-represented non-avians in its ecosystem, with at least 300 specimens being found. It had a rocky start to its discovery, as the first specimen was made into a forgery by assembling the bones of this dinosaur and 2 others before it was smuggled out of the country to be sold in the U.S. Zhu Jing, who is a badass motherfucking paleontologist, was the one to go, no, this is a forgery. Fun fact, Zhu Jing has named, I want to say that he is the one who has the record for naming the most dinosaurs, or at one point he did, and he will also be the one who named the dinosaur for the next movie that they do dirty.
Do it so dirty.
I'm so mad. Anyway, after this, there was some controversy because ornithologist Storzel Olsen publishes a paper in 2000 that I tried to locate, but I couldn't, on this dinosaur's tail, because that was all that he had, naming the dinosaur Archaeoraptor. And then at the same time, Zhu Jing, who has the rest of the dinosaur, publishes another paper under a different name that would give this dinosaur away, so I'm not saying it. Because of the lack of material for Olsen to create a new genus because again, he just had the tail, and other rules on taxonomy, Jing's name won out. The first specimen that was described and is not a forgery didn't have a skull, and only had some of the feathers. But in 2002, we get a specimen that Stephen Serkis et al. Calls Cryptovalens poly. This name's not going to stay for this specimen. It's going to go to the name that we all know and love. And that one has some interesting features preserved. Flight feathers.
Uh-huh.
More on that in a minute. So, this small dinosaur has flight feathers and a fused sternum, but the shoulder joint couldn't do the full flapping motion. And so that kind of lets you know this is not a bird, it's not a missing link animal, it is a dinosaur that had a bit of flight. Meaning, flight probably evolved more than once in theropods, and there's some discussion on whether or not these dinosaurs climbed trees, or if they were like a ground dinosaur that could take off, and it's the form called wing-assisted incline running method. And it's what quail do. And that's kind of what they think a lot of theropods did. So, as much as I really love the idea of an arboreal crow climbing around in the trees, jumping, gliding down with a little bit of flapping, there's some evidence for it to be a case of they were running along the ground and then flap their wings and take off that way, kind of like quail and chickens do.
They couldn't just from a stand start flying like most birds.
they couldn't do that because their shoulders didn't have that range of motion that other birds do.
Gotcha. They could go forward, but they couldn't go as far back.
Yeah, they couldn't go as far back, so it's not true flapping, but it is. They do think that they could fly.
It's not flapping, Kay. It's flailing with style.
There's also still some stuff where they go, oh, well, no, they're not able to fly. And I don't know. I kind of go with it makes sense to have, they could flap a little bit to control it, even if they couldn't fly well.
They didn't have sustained powered flight, but they could get places.
Yeah, they could get places. And this dinosaur made Circus think that dromaeosaurs were secondarily flightless, meaning they didn't start as... It's kind of like the way that birds kind of have gone recently, because rheatites, while they're primitive, and that's things like ostriches and stuff, maybe they're not a good example. They're not a good example. Penguins, though, may have come from a flighted ancestor, but they are secondarily flightless, same as cockapos, which are secondarily flightless. So they think dromaeosaurs may be secondarily flightless. So they had an ancestor who could fly, and then all of our faves just either don't or only did it when they were juveniles, because that's a fun thing with Deinonychus that I actually really like, and it makes them even cooler than just rawr, I'm a big scary dino, but it's like, I'm a big scary dino who can fly, or who can flap on the ground and get just a little bit of lift, and that's fucking terrifying and cool.
And I imagine it would make leaping better because you could get more distance with your leap.
Yes, and I don't know 100% on this because this is debated, but I personally like the dromaeosaurs are secondarily flightless thing rather than
they just never
had flight anywhere, and because it kind of, I don't know, to me it puts birds even more solidly in dinosaur, because there are some people who are always like, no, birds aren't dinosaurs. They're not dinosaurs. They descended from something else. They're not dinosaurs. No, you're wrong. And it's like, no, birds are dinosaurs. Just accept it.
It's all in the hips.
It's in the hips. It's in the feathers. Nothing else has feathers. Except things in the dinosaur line. I'm sorry. Birds are dinosaurs, y'all. Just accept it.
You've heard it here first, y'all. Kay will fight over this.
I will fight over this. I will put on, spurs like a rooster has, and I'll kick. I'll kick you in the face, because I can't peck. Actually, throwing hands would probably be better. Anyway, about the flight feathers. The placement has led to some debate as to how the dinosaur carried its legs when gliding or flying. Some viewed it more as a biplane model, so you'd have it flying like, I've got my hands one on top of the other like this.
A biplane.
Like a biplane. And others point to some specimens as well as other small dromaeosaurs, saying that their legs would have been splayed out behind them, since their hips may have been able to do that. Again, that's another debated thing. I personally like biplane. I think it looks cooler, but I can understand where their legs are splayed out. Also, I feel like biplane makes a little bit more sense because it's kind of like how you'll see birds tuck their legs under. And that's kind of where I go, but their hip sockets do allow for some movement like that. The feather imprints preserved melanosomes, which makes this one of the dinosaurs that we know the coloration of. They were black and had iridescence, like little crows. This dinosaur, being small, would have preyed on small animals, and in fact, the stomach contents have been found with a species of lizard called Introsaurus wongii, or wongi, Introsaurus wongi, being discovered in the dinosaur's stomach. And the dinosaur had died shortly after eating the lizard, which is why it was so well preserved that they could name a new fucking species. That's pretty cool.
That fossil was a twofer.
It was a twofer fossil, and we've run into a few of those before, but that one's really cool. They also, I think that I read that they don't think that they could pass pellets like other predatory birds, but they also didn't really find any gastroliths, so like they would swallow the animal and just digest everything in and pass whatever they could out.
Okay, because I was wondering if they didn't have pellets, if maybe they just puked up chunks of stuff that they couldn't digest.
Yeah, it didn't look like they passed pellets.
So their stomach acid was just gnarly enough to dissolve bone.
Yeah, like Lagermeyer's.
Yeah.
Of course, Helena fucking Walker has some ideas on this dinosaur. So, she calls them aggressive towards anything, regardless of size, basically claiming that they have little dog syndrome, and says, while not capable of sustained flight, its wings allow it to stay aloft for several seconds while jumping, which on its own might be plausible, but she also calls them speedy, and basically, like, she kind of describes it's more like they hover rather than they actually, like, do a chicken fly or anything. But then, I don't know, like, just the way that she describes them is just dumb. Especially because she says that by hitting a bigger creature, they could stun it. And, okay, whatever, Helena Walker. So either we have a small theropod that might have climbed trees and or glided, or may have power walked to fly, or a very deadly theropod chihuahua. Take your fucking pick. Guess that dinosaur.
Microraptor.
Yes! Microraptor Gui.
It was funny, because I knew it was Microraptor pretty early. Well, I shouldn't say I knew, but I suspected.
Yes.
And then about halfway through, I knew.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah. On paper, I should love this movie. Because Microraptor.
I mean, but it's different if they bend your dinosaur over and make it an abomination.
I mean, first thing, Guido the Microraptor.
Guido?
Yes.
His name is Guido.
Yes. There's one of the reasons I don't like this movie. Is a green Microraptor.
Okay, I need to Google something.
That's not how it's spelled.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Does he talk like Mario? That would make it even better.
No.
It's a me!
It's a Rob Paulson voice, because Rob Paulson voices him, as well as Spike, and Mr. Clubtail, and somebody else, I can't remember who.
Doesn't he do Petri, too?
Not in this one. This one, it's Jeff Bennett. He's done Petri once, but most of the time, Jeff Bennett plays Petri. But I don't like how they designed Guido, because they really fuck up the cool foot flight feathers.
Does he have, like, rolled up sleeves and slick back hair and...
No,
Does he drive a pussy wagon?
No.
He's a terrible womanizer. You gotta talk like this.
No, but it just... I don't like the way that they animated him, and it really bothers me because it's such a cool dinosaur. I will say this is the first feathered dinosaur that is explicitly like a non-avian dinosaur that we will get in these. And then...
I know it's not the last.
It's not the last, and they really fuck it up next week. They really fuck it up with the next one. Oh, I hate it so much. I hate it so much. They did Beipiaosaurus so dirty. They did him so dirty. I'm so sad.
I'm sorry, Kate.
going to have a lot to say about that one. Also, I'm really proud of myself for not dragging the Pterosaur Heresies guy this episode, but that was just because he hadn't made me angry until after I had written the script. And then he started doing his Azarkid shit, and I'm like, oh, you motherfucker.
Well, we can talk about how dumb he is if we want.
Yeah, we can do that. Anyway, are you ready to go watch them do Microraptor a little dirty in this one?
I am ready to watch the great flyers ascend to the highest echelons of dinosaur supremacy in this.
That's not what it's about, but okay.
Well, the story in my head it is.
I'd love to see your alternate story alongside the real story with this. Anyway, let's go and watch us some so-so dinosaur film.
Caw! Caw!
Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means?
Caw, listeners, caw.
I cannot believe that you called my grandmother that.
Caw! Caw!
If she was here right now,
Caw. Caw.
Jesus, I'm so... Let's go.
Let's go!
Hey, Warren.
Hey, Kate.
Do you know what time it is?
Is it time to thank our Patreon sponsors?
It is!
Woo! We would like to thank our stage crew sponsors, Jeff, Reagan, and Jasmine Wu.
And our producer circle sponsors, Jesse, Bianucci, and Taylor Brandt.
Thank you all so much for your continued support of our show.
We truly appreciate it.
Do you want a science podcast? No. What about a comedy science podcast? Oh, yeah! Then join us at Petri Dish. I'm Sean, a PhD and cancer researcher.
And I'm Nathan, his trusty sidekick and common man / biological brother.
Together we dive into the latest, hottest topics with irreverent gusto.
Cannabinoids, climate change, human sexuality.
Listen weekly, everywhere podcasts are available, to Petri Dish.
And now, the lights are going down and the music's starting back up, so let's head back to the second act of our show. So, I've changed my mind about this one, but I don't know what your mind is on this one.
A lot of meh.
Yeah.
A lot of meh. After seeing, stuff as stupid as the invasion of the tiny sauruses and other dumb ones, this one is relatively harmless.
Yeah.
It has some stupid stuff in it, like so many of the ones before. The Microraptor character could have been infinitely better.
Yep, that's actually
infinitely better.
That's where my mind got changed of like, nope, they still did him dirty.
Absolutely.
Even in comparison to what they do in the next one, they still did him dirty.
I don't know why.
Your reaction was so funny when he first came onto the screen.
And why does he talk like Woody Allen?
I don't know. I hate it.
In fact, it's established that it sounds like he's an adult. Like, they don't make him out to be like a kid.
The wiki puts him as a young Microraptor, but
It felt like an adult hanging out with children.
Yeah,
and
it did.
Not even
not
Petri's,
in like the Mr. Thicknose way.
No, even Petri's mom had that attitude of like, what the hell is that thing, and why the hell is it near my offspring?
Yeah, like I know that
What the hell is that?
I know that Petri's voiced as an adult or by an adult, but they do enough with his voice to make him sound younger-ish, like to code him younger, even though I can still tell, and as a kid could tell, that was an adult voicing a child, unlike the other child characters. But if they were gonna have Guido, which I hate that name so much. I hate that name so much.
How is there nobody in the room to be like, guys,
this is
we can call him Gui, or we can call him Micro, or
Mike,
or Mike.
Literally anything.
Even Gui would have. I feel like Gui would have been okay, but Guido. Come on.
That's not even where the Gui in Microraptor Gui comes from. It's not Microraptor Guido.
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck? And as someone who's part Italian, I'm kind of like,
Uh-huh.
Like, I know that Guido Sarducci exists, but
he's also a parody and
yeah, and kids in 2006 wouldn't know who the fuck that was.
Yeah. It's
so wonky, and I still don't hate it as much as Tinysaurus's. I never will hate it as much as Tinysaurus's.
Tinysaurus's was really dumb.
Yeah, but this one, I think that this one is low on my list also out of pure disappointment.
Yeah, because they were the guest dinosaur of the year is a really cool dinosaur.
Yes.
And they shit all over what could have been a really cool dinosaur.
Yes, they do. And they do it again in the next one. And
I don't know what the issue is with that. It's like, if you're not going to represent these really interesting dinosaurs well, don't even do them. Just have another generic Sharptooth bad guy movie.
Yeah. Like, I would watch that over the next two entries. This and the next entry. The 14th, it's been long enough that maybe I'll like it better this time, but I know that the 13th is going to make me irrationally angry. And this one, reliving the whole Guido stuff, I'm just like, you know what? No. I still am mad at this movie.
Yeah. Plenty of dumb parts, but and to be fair,
yeah,
it like so many of the other ones before, they'll have good parts.
Yes,
they have some good shit in there, and they have good touching moments.
Yeah,
and then they taint it with this duck butter of a dinosaur. And it's just so incredibly frustrating because the stuff with Sarah being a big sister,
yes,
is so good. I love it. I feel like that could have been the movie, like, to an extent. Like, I know that they tend to try to have multiple plots going, which, if your pacing is done right, you can accomplish that. But considering that these movies are just over an hour kind of thing, I feel like having one good plot, is really what you need to have, instead of trying to thread this intricate tapestry of half-baked ideas.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is that I know that it wouldn't be Great Day of the Flyers if it was a Sarah-based movie.
Well, then you give it a different title.
Yeah,
it's not
give it
Great
a different title, because the whole Great Day of the Flyers plotline is kind of pointless.
It's like flyer school. It's like this is their final test or whatever to prove that they can be flyers, which to me, I'm like, isn't the case to prove that you can be a flyer that you can fly? Like,
yeah. And part of it too is because we've already had the Petri struggling to fly story in the first movie.
Yeah.
And ever since then, he flies well. We never have him having to fly in a flock.
And they make mention of that in this movie, too, when they're like, you fly fine when you're around us. And it's like, oh, well, Petri apparently gets stage fright.
Yeah, and the whole, this is a way to show that they're not little ones anymore. Well, then let Petri fucking grow up after this movie. Like, that's the other thing, is that it's done like it's a rite of passage, but we never have any thing for them to pass into.
They never change.
They never change. So that whole storyline is completely pointless. Instead, and here I go rewriting the series, make it a Sarah movie. This is the second time that making it a Sarah movie would have improved it. Because she's the character that always has the most growth.
I mean, she also has she's also out of our starting characters, our starting roster, she is the most, I would say, morally bankrupt.
Oh yes.
All because of her shitty father teaching her to
Yeah.
be a shitty.
But like the whole thing
Racist.
with her is that she has these character arcs that make her better each time, which is the hallmark of a main character. But she's not our main character ever.
Very little continuity is maintained. I would say Tria remaining in this from the previous movie is one of the largest continuity things that has remained. I mean, because we've never seen Sarah's little nibblings. We've never seen really any of. We never see the tiny sauruses again. We never, which I'm fine for.
They were in a cameo blink if you miss it moment.
Okay, I'm glad I missed it then.
And they'll show up again in the TV series. Yeah. Like, the thing with it is I feel like they... Because at least they didn't try to focus on Littlefoot with this one.
That's what I was going to say. Is like, because I know we talked about previously that even when they tried to shift focus to somebody else, they always snap back to Littlefoot. Like, oh yeah, he's the main character. We have to focus on him.
Yeah.
They didn't do that in that one.
No,
they kind of split their attention mostly between Petri and Sarah, and then, of course, Guido.
Yeah, which...
I feel wrong saying that. I feel like I'm going to get in trouble when I say that.
I mean, that's the character's name. It's not as bad as if it had been another name, but it's still something where I'm just like...
And I'm sitting here next to you going, is Kay gonna...
No.
Is Kay gonna...
No.
Like, just to make a point, is Kay gonna...
No, but it just... I am so just...
I will say that this one does have one of the better overall morals.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way that it's punctuated by Guido in it. I felt like was very phoned in.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost like the writers they got through it and they're like, okay, well, what's the moral? Okay, how do we fit that in? And then I don't feel like there was any love. There wasn't any personal investment, you know?
No, this was a fucking paycheck.
Which, understandable, I get that, but and who knows how much creative liberty they even have, you know?
Also, I take issue with the person who runs the Land Before Time wiki or edited it saying that Flip, Flop, and Fly and Flip, Flap, and Fly are parodies of each other because, no, they're not.
Other than...
Title only.
Yeah, title only, because the tune, we've
Flip,
listened to them.
Flop, and Fly, that's Chicken Run. Flip, Flap, Flip, Flap, and Fly, that's different songs.
Yeah,
different songs.
Even my musically challenged brain, when you had mentioned that this is supposed to be a quote unquote parody or a reference to it, when that song kicked in, I was like,
yeah, and I was listening for it this time through because it's been long enough that I forgot how Flip, Flap, and Fly went, and I'm not about to go out of my way for these movies to watch them more than once.
And one positive thing that I will say about us having to do all of these is that I know the executives at Universal Animation are absolutely listening to this. The big decision makers are listening in on our advice. And so we know that Land Before Time 15, know what they're going to do? They're going to have them be a little bit older. They're going to start aging up the dinosaurs. Littlefoot will have a little bit longer of a neck and a little bit bigger of feet. Sarah's going to have some little horn nubs. Thag's going to have some little tail nubs. And Ducky might be a little bit bigger. And Petri will be a little bit bigger. And
So I would agree, except Universal was responsible for the Cats movie. We had
was
two
Tom Hooper?
episodes. Yeah, but Universal is who is also behind that shit.
But they're trying to learn from their mistakes in my head. And so this narrative that I am wishing upon a star for a blue fairy to create is one where we get some good dinosaur children's media that we can review on our show that's musical, you know?
Oh, God.
Like make
I
it
love your optimism.
90 minutes long with a fully fleshed out plot. They're going to have people of color to do voices, then they won't be shitty characters, and the music will be catchy, and it won't sound like your actors are singing to music that is added later.
They're singing to a click track.
Exactly.
You couldn't see what I just did. I just realized.
So, Kay, this is called a microphone. It is used to capture audio. What it doesn't capture is video. I know that you, as a film major, are used to having microphones on cameras. Or having the two work together in tandem.
Oh, God. That lets you know how this week has been.
All right. Shall we get into this?
Please, God. So that we can move on to the next one and then move on to the next.
Now, I can't remember. Is the series coming between 13
No.
and 14 or after 14?
It's going to go between 13 and 14 because the series introduces two characters that are in one character that's in 14, so.
Wouldn't want to miss any of that golden continuity.
I mean, I like the character that they introduce, so.
Okay.
You know.
Well, if you like them, then that's important. And
It's a cute character.
I realized that as I said that came off a little sarcastic. Well, I guess if you like them, then that's important.
It's like I like the rainbow faces, because they make something interesting.
I like the rainbow faces just fine. I thought the whole alien. I'm not sure I felt. Anyways, okay. We're not gonna dive back into the movies of
Better movie.
The movies of yesterweeks. Okay, The Land Before Time 12. The Great Day of the Flyers. Very good, thank you. The movie starts with Earth, present day, I think. But then the world rolls back the dawn of time and we hear the narrator. Kay almost spit their water. Roll back the rock at the dawn of time.
Did spit my water.
So, yes, the movie starts with Earth, present day, I think, but then the world rolls back to the dawn of time, and we hear the narrator talk about how the Earth is billions of years old, and was full of violent Earth stuff, and cold Earth stuff, and animals and stuff, and eventually there were dinosaurs. And one of the cool things about Earth now is that it's always changing. So there we go. They're trying to say that change is an important inevitability.
Then do it, movies.
Do it, you cowards.
Do it, cowards.
We see our well-known roster of child heroes. Well, 3 of them. Baby Steps, Ducky, and Fag standing on a cliff edge looking at the sky. Until Fag spaces out and knocks Ducky off the edge to her death, almost. But Baby Steps saves her life. Baby Steps is then like,
Huh, where is Sarah? She should be here.
But Sarah is busy staring daggers at an egg, on a nest, being nuzzled by her stepmom Tria. Sarah seems to be displeased with the prospect of a sibling, but her mom and dad are suddenly fixated on the egg's temperature and start piling grass on it. Sarah tells her parents that she's going to meet her friends, but is ignored. Sarah then tells her parents that she's going out to a wild party where she plans to have unprotected sex with multiple sharp teeth and maybe rob a bank. Her distracted parents just tell her to have fun. Sarah leaves the nest and meets up with her friends who are watching the sky for Petri, who is practicing for the day of the great flyers.
I will say that with Sarah being upset about a sibling, I feel like the movie could have been a little bit. I mean, it would add in too many layers for a kids' film, but Sarah did have siblings. Emphasis on the word did.
And that's the thing, is that the original movie and the sequels are in entirely different universes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's like you talked about. We see Sarah in the first movie with siblings
Yeah.
who we're left to assume that they died.
Yeah.
And they don't ever reference it. And I know that death is then again, fucking Littlefoot's mom dies in the first movie, so I don't want to say that this series doesn't deal with death and loss, but it's like...
I think kid death is the thing that people are always afraid to handle in media.
Kid death, but let's put our child heroes in deadly situations on a yearly basis.
And let's make Bridge to Terabithia required rating. Fuck you.
Yeah. I'm of the mind that kids can handle any topic if presented properly.
Absolutely.
And I'm... because of how good the series was, I want to compare every fucking piece of children's media to Steven Universe and just how well they tackled more adult content. Yeah, just anything. And I feel like there was a missed opportunity here with Sarah having fears about... I mean, because Sarah doesn't like the whole unattentive parents because they're focused on the baby.
Yeah.
And granted, that is something that I'm like... Well,
that kids deal with.
Shitty parents, not paying attention to their other child. And there wasn't even really a moment where they were like, oh, we are maybe being a little But at the same time, I think there might also be the attitude of, well, Sarah hates it when we...
coddle her.
When we coddle her. Sarah hates it when we, treat her like a little kid,
Yeah.
But there's none of that dialogue that happens.
Which I will be glad... I will give the movie this. They don't have Sarah, doing any regressing or any sort of trying to, divert the attention to her completely, pay attention to me sort of bullshit. And they also... when the egg hatches, they don't have her try to sabotage the kid. They don't do any of that. She just more has...
She doesn't try to hurt the sibling in any way or neglect the sibling.
Yeah.
If anything, she goes into her role of being a sister.
Yeah.
Just right into it.
Yeah.
There's no no, I don't want to watch the dumb baby. It's like, okay, I'll watch the baby.
And then it turns into, I am protective of this.
Yeah.
Because that's what they've kind of built up the Ceratopsians to be like in this, is very...
But I guess what I meant to say before I got a little rambly was that, there were missed opportunities here to talk to kids in a safe setting about new siblings coming into the family, and even, because we have this dynamic where you have Sarah and her biological father and then a new mother.
Yes.
And it's like, well, is she going to love her biological kid more than me because I'm not her biological kid?
That could have been the movie.
Yeah, and as somebody who has divorced parents, who one is remarried kind of thing, and I have a step parent, I get that kind of concern, and it would have been a good topic to do a kids movie on, where you can do it with dinosaurs and colors and adventure, but still have an important topic that kids can take away from the movie and into their lives. But no, this one is...
They don't. They just... It's so infuriating when they miss these opportunities to teach actual good lessons that don't get taught.
I really do wonder who holding the reins either didn't care or was afraid or was had their hands tied with how much freedom they had. Because hearing about just other TV shows and what they have to deal with the network, what the network doesn't want them to do when they want to do something.
And other children's movie franchises, which this would fall under more so than TV.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's fair too. But okay,
for now.
Okay, so yeah, the kids are staring at the sky, looking for Petri! Petri is flying in formation with other little pecker faces, but Petri gets distracted, trying to show off for his friends, and he slams into the other little peckers and causes the formation to break apart and plummet to their death. Almost. They land... And they land, and Petri thinks that Mr. Clubtail is going to eat him. But Clubtail just stomps off, grumbling about kids these days. And so with that one, what makes me laugh is you see in the distance just all these specks of the kids falling, you know?
Yeah.
And they land. They don't, like, recover and glide to safety or flap to safety. They land. And splatty splat. But anyway.
I mean, young birds will hurt themselves flying sometimes. Mid-air bird collisions can be a little... They can dust themselves off in some cases, but yeah, that tracks a little bit. I've seen birds that mess up.
It's like the equivalent of air tripping. Like tripping while you walk while you're flying.
I still always think about the bird that got drunk at my mom's house. Got taken a mile away by the wind.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I gotta get home. Okay, go. Because the wind just... I don't know where I live now. Okay. Petri gets chewed out by his siblings for being such a fuck-up. And his mom even comes down to be like,
Not again, Petri, you useless fuck.
That evening, Baby Steps asks G-Paw Big Steps what the deal is with the Great Day of the Flyers. G-Paw explains that it's a rite of passage, and it's how flyers prove that they're ready to fly with the adults. Okay, seems fair for this universe, I guess. Back at the flyer nest, Petri's siblings are just ruthlessly talking about how hopeless he is, and how he always fucks up their flight formations. Petri's mom comes over to be like,
Now, kids, don't pick on your brother. Let me have a turn.
and dismisses the others so that she can tell Petri how much he sucks. Sorta. She's like,
You can fly well when you want to. Why are you ruining it now? Huh? Why, Petri? Are you like your shitty uncle? Remember him, Petri? That shitty uncle of yours who was banished? Remember? I sure wish I didn't.
Anyways, Mama Flyer asks Petri if he'll be ready for the Great Day of the Flyers, and Petri is just like,
I'll do my best.
and sulks off to sleep at the opposite end of the nest. That same night, but at the Three-Horn Estate, Topsy is snoring, and Trio wakes his ass up, saying that he almost rolled over onto the egg, and she tells him to scoot his ass. More, a little more, and Topsy falls off the little ledge and exits the scene. During this time, Sarah tries to tell her parents good night, but because they're just so engrossed with the egg, they totally ignore her. The next morning, we see a CGI field as CGI grass flashes by the scene, and it focuses on our heroes who are walking and talking about how Petri is a good flyer, no matter what everyone else in the entire valley has to say, and they try to give him some encouragement. Petri's issue seems to be performance-related. He flies good by himself, but he flies all shitty when he's with others. His friends offer to watch him practice in this windy day, and Petri takes off at his friend's behest, but quickly gets tossed into the CGI grass by the wind. As his friends go to investigate the crash site...
I just love the CGI grass because it's so conspicuous.
Yeah, very obvious. It's like when the other ones where they have CGI trees that are rolling and stuff like that. But, so they go to investigate the crash site. They hear Petri scream in terror as the entire freaking valley gathers to investigate the scream. And the rustling of the bushes, we get the reveal of this movie's unique dinosaur, Guido, who... isn't sure where he is or how he got there. He said he just woke up. So, very shitty grasp of evolution here. See, and I misunderstood what he meant right there, because Guido, it gets revealed later how Guido probably arrived in the valley. I thought that he was just like, I don't know, I just woke up and I was here. Like, as if he just, poof, came into existence.
And that's kind of how they try to make it sound.
Which is a little bit what it sounds, and it's like, dude, you came out of a cloaca somewhere. You were part of a nest. You had a parent. Like,
And Microraptor probably would have had parents raising them.
Yeah.
Like, movie.
Well, I mean, like, you do get spontaneous mutations, you know, in evolution, but there would be nothing that would go from, like...
Look at any of the dinosaurs
Look at any of the
him.
dinosaurs to a Microraptor. Like, there'd be a progression of mutations, you know?
And it just...
So for him to just be like,
Don't know where I was. I'm just here now.
Yeah, their treatment of dromaeosaurs in this series, they either do what they do with, like, the raptors that we've seen with incorrect fingers and
snaggle teeth,
and
weird
weird
faces,
and shrink-wrapped bodies, or
shrink
this.
wrapping bothers me the least, honestly.
Yeah, shrink-wrapping is whatever.
That's kind of been how dinosaurs have been portrayed for so long. That bothers me less than, like, the wrong number of fingers.
Yeah,
and
no,
stuff like
that is a bigger sin. But, like, they go from that to this, because it's not even like feathers. The way that they do his feathering is, like, inconsistent, shaggy, that isn't...
He kind of looks like shaggy fur. It doesn't quite look like feathers, you know. When he spreads out his wings, it does. But okay.
And that it bothers me in that respect, because that's not what Microraptor looked like at all.
He doesn't even have a beak. He doesn't even have a dinosaur face. He has, like, this rounded, blunted parrot face.
He has a parrot face a bit.
He has a bad parrot face.
And like...
And they don't even distinguish, like, in his face, like, where they would be a beak or... Like he
or
just,
on his hands. They don't distinguish
he looks so goddamn wrong.
He does. And the legs, one of the biggest things that everyone sees with Microraptor...
legs.
Yeah, the wing legs, they don't do.
It looks like he has extra shaggy pants.
Yeah, he looks like he's wearing pants. He doesn't look like he has those ridiculous, like, wing legs that makes Microraptor so cool. Come on, movie. I will even forgive the fact that they made him green, because we didn't know at the time, because the melanosomes hadn't been...
Was he green, or was he like a bluish? Or he was
he's,
I guess
he's a greenish teal,
there we go,
whatever,
yeah.
But still, like, that's still not black like Microraptor was.
Yeah.
Black or iridescent of some form. This is just... But that doesn't even bother me as much as everything else about him.
Yeah. So, very shitty grasp of Microraptor here in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Guido is apparently the only one of his kind that he's ever seen. Again, not how evolution works. Sarah hears one of a kind and is like,
Boy, that would be nice.
because she's going through some sibling replacement syndrome right now. Petri flies around singing about how great it would be to be the only flyer without other flyers making fun of him. Guido then reminds them that being one of a kind is lonely. Because when you're the only one, you're a freak of nature. And the kids continue singing badly. The bad one-of-a-kind song ends, and the baby gang then immediately starts scrutinizing his freakishness, saying that he's got all these qualities like other dinosaurs, a pecker face like Petri, spiky things like Sarah, and other characteristics. The gang decides that they need to take Guido around the valley and see if he belongs to any group. They take him first to the longnecks and have him try to eat leaves, and Guido does, but then he hacks up the veggies. Then they take him to...
What Petri should have been doing this whole time.
Interesting thing there, he has the herbivore language. There's no language barrier there.
Yeah.
But
he is not an herbivore.
Yeah, and we see later well, I guess the only thing we don't see him eat meat per se. We see him eat a worm.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to consider worms meat because
they are.
Because to me, meat is,
they're the other meat.
Is bakabak and moo cow.
And glub glub.
And glub
and oink oink.
And
bah.
But not
hey,
wormy worm. And human. Long pig.
But yeah, it it does kind of throw a wrench into their whole... The herbivores have one language, the carnivores have another. But that just is because they don't... They have a little bit of a... Carnivores have to be this way, herbivores have to be this way, and when we get a small carnivore in this that won't be a threat to the main characters suddenly...
Well, he can talk because he was raised for a day
Yeah.
by Littlefoot.
Well, and
so he learned their language in a day.
He talks to, with Guido, he immediately talks to him, just like, hey guys, I'm a Woody Allen clone.
I should have tried to rehearse a Woody Allen impression, but then I would have had to kill
that you
Yeah,
didn't.
and then I would have had to kill myself.
I'm okay that you didn't.
Before you stab me in my sleep going, now I'll never not hear you that way. I can't be married to you anymore, and I want that sweet, sweet insurance money.
I love you.
I love you. Okay, yeah. So, they take Guido around to talk to the other dinosaur groups to see which one he belongs to. First he goes to the long necks, but can't eat all the veggies. Then they take him to Mr. Clubtail, who smacks Guido with his bopper. Which,
I love that.
I like that. They're giving him their drill like,
You have a bopper?
You have a bopper? What's a bopper? And then smacks him with his tail. That's a bopper.
That's a great moment of Rob Paulson talking to himself, too, there.
It's true. Then they go to Topsy, who tells them to fuck off.
I love that. That was...
He has no time for their shit.
That was such a good little rule of threes, though, where it's like, okay, this one, okay, here he gets hurt, okay, over to Daddy Threehorn, fuck off.
Yeah, just dismissive. Just tells them to go
Don't even
away.
think about it.
Then they go to... then Ducky tries to see if Guido is a swimmer, like her. Yep. But Guido is scared of the water and decides he's not a swimmer. Nope. The gang tries to pause for trying... the gang takes a pause for trying to figure out what the fuck Guido is and watch Petri and his kin fly around. Petri is doing pretty good until they have to fly into the clouds. Clouds fuck up Petri's mojo. And the tricky, menacing cloud causes all the flyers to fail and to fall to their deaths again. The scene cuts to Petri pouting on a cliff and Guido coming up to him to be like,
Hey, Petri, your flying was pretty good. I sure wish I was a flyer.
Oh, fucking hell.
And Petri decides to have Guido try flying with him. Petri decides to have Guido try flying with him. But not yet, because Baby Steps rushes in to say that Tria's egg is So maybe I fucked up on my note there. When Guido goes to comfort him, or was Guido just saying he could watch him fly? Because Guido doesn't know that Guido can fly
does not
yet.
know that he can fly yet. And if I remember right, because it's been a day, and this movie, I do not like it to stick in my head very
You're like, you don't
long.
want to have more brain cells devoted to it than are absolutely necessary.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that Petri does have kind of like a, hey, maybe you should try flying with me, but it gets interrupted. Because otherwise, that would have been the end of this plot line, as it would have been, oh, you're a flyer, cool.
Yeah, these things under your arms are wings.
Except, I did pull up an image of Guido, and actually, he should not be able to fly, because look at those arms.
Oh, look at that ugly
Yeah.
fucker. Jesus
Yeah, those
Christ.
arms and the chest muscles that connect to it, none of that should be able to... He can't fly with that.
You know,
That's a gross mischaracterization of bird anatomy and of dinosaur anatomy.
he really is a disgusting looking booger of an animated creature.
It really upsets me because he could have been so cool. Because I remember being so excited
I don't
that
know.
there would be Microraptor.
How many designs do you think they went through before they settled? That's the one. That's our Guido. Like, how? Well, did someone's 4-year-old draw it?
Here, Bobby, use this one in your movie.
It's like
The thing is looking at it, I think someone said, okay, Microraptor, that's like a bird, right? We don't know
Except
what
it
kind
doesn't
of...
even look
no,
like
it
a
doesn't
bird.
even look like a bird, but...
You know, it would look better if it had, like, more of a bird face.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would be like, okay, they made a slight effort. But with that, like, he looks like someone cut off his beak. And
Yeah.
he just has, like, the fleshy nub where the beak would connect to his fucking face.
That's so sad.
I know, but that's what he is. He's sad. He's a sad, pitiful excuse for a Microraptor, and he's ruined this movie with his shittiness.
They even miss the connective tissue that goes between the shoulder and the wrist.
You know, there's a lot of stuff
there's
that
a lot that's wrong.
There's a lot with dinosaur art and representations in these movies that I can be more forgiving of because I don't have your vast stores of knowledge. But faces, I feel like, matter the most because that's where you're looking when they're talking.
Yeah.
And his face is just so fucked.
The thing that bothers me the most with his design, and I'm sorry to interrupt to say this, but when you mentioned the whole, oh, maybe you're a flyer, it's like, okay, I have to get this out. The person who was responsible for designing Guido has never looked at a bird wing. And that also means that that explains a lot of other winged animals that tend to be drawn incorrectly in this series.
They draw them like people. Like they draw the bodies like human bodies, and then they just kind of add the feathers where it would go on a human if a human had wings.
Yeah, and they don't take into account, like, you can do stylized stuff with characters, but when you have other dinosaurs that look more quote-unquote realistic, and then you break that rule for another dinosaur, then it ruins it. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
Guido should have had his whole arm covered in the flight feathers.
Well,
Because then you wouldn't see the scrawny arms that they drew.
if they would have drawn him more like a bird kind of thing with the same, like, the kind of tucked arms like you do with bird wings,
Yeah.
kind of thing, and he still could have, like, turned his wrist and had his hands
Yeah.
been expressive as he's talking, like I'm doing now that our listeners can't see. But you could have
This is a microphone.
you could have had him do that, but he still could have walked around like a bird with his arms tucked like a bird's wings, and the pecker face. He has no pecker face.
He does not have
Guido
a pecker face.
his pecker.
He needs a pecker.
He needs a pecker on his
Give
face.
Guido his pecker.
Peckers for Guido!
Peckers! It's been one.
So yes, Petri decides to have Guido try flying with him, but not yet, because Baby Steps rushes in to say that Tria's egg is hatching, and they all rush off to watch the miracle of life in action. The egg hatches, and it's a girl! We can tell, because she's pink. Pink with no name. The blurry-eyed baby focuses on Sarah and gives her a big smile before falling over, because her little legs are new. Topsy almost tramples Sarah, getting closer to his new baby, and Sarah is like, "Don't mind me," and stomps off. Petri comments on how cute the hatchling is, and Sarah almost murders him right there, but lets him keep his life. But it makes me laugh, because I don't know if I've paid attention to Sarah particularly picking on Petri in past movies, because in the last one she did, and in this one she does, but my memory is not going back far enough to be like, is Petri just her punching bag?
I think Petri's her punching bag, because, like, Littlefoot was her punching bag in the first movie, but then she grew to be like, he's my friend, and I've only known Littlefoot for this amount of time, and if anything were to happen to him, I'll kill everyone in the room and then myself, but I'm not going to tell him that.
Well, remember, Littlefoot also saved the world. By pushing the sun back up into the sky.
Fucking hell. If anyone jumps in on this episode, and this is the first one, they're going to be like, that's a joke. Littlefoot couldn't know. They're not going to know it's serious. These movies are so fucking stupid.
Okay. Things change to that evening when Petri takes Guido home with him. Giggity. Petri introduces Guido to his family, who all circle in on Guido and judge his appearance and smell. They then move in on Petri to destroy what crumbs remain of his self-esteem. But Guido steps in to insult the kids and calls them a bunch of ass faces,
Yep.
which gets a laugh from the children. Mama Flyer then tells everyone to go to bed, and as they're getting ready to sleep, Guido tells Petri that he'll help him prepare for the great day of the Flyers. Even though he fucks up at everything he does, Petri is like, okay, great, good night. Like,
What I love about that scene, though, is that after Guido insults the kids, Petri's mom laughs, just like, that was great.
so I forgot.
Delivered perfectly by Tress MacNeille.
Like, in that scene when Petri, comes home back to the nest, and Guido climbs up the rock face, to get to the nest, and Petri's like, he's gonna stay with us, and Mama Flyer's like, for tonight. Like, she has the acting was actually pretty good, because the subtext was that thing is not staying here one day longer than is absolutely required.
Yes.
And even though, like, they're talking, like, moving her kids away from the creepy stranger, just totally fine with her black sheep of a child hanging out with this weird, smelly outsider. But I do love how he does call his siblings ass faces. And what's funny is the kids laugh and the mom laughs. Like, yeah, they are little ass faces.
Like, I can't decide what Petri's status is with his family. Is he the black sheep or is he the favorite? Because the way that Mama Pterosaur, Mama Flyer, I guess is what they call her.
That's what I call her.
I guess the way that she acts towards him reminds me of the mother vulture in those Looney Tunes shorts. With the oh gosh. Cecil.
Yeah.
Cecil the vulture. Because his mom is very much like, he doesn't know how to hunt, but he's also my baby. But he's also a loser. But I love him.
I love my loser baby.
Yeah, so it's like that's the whole trope, which makes sense because of the way that they have kind of drawn the pterosaurs in this. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but all pterosaurs have that collar like a vulture.
I don't know if I have noticed, but that's
yes,
okay.
They all have that same collar, which I'm like, are those pycnofibers, or is this that we don't know how to draw?
Kay's using words again.
Sorry. Anyway. There's some choices that the longer we go on these in this stretch, I'm going, the character design was a choice on a lot of these.
And it is one thing because it goes all the way back to the first movie with their character design, so they kind of kept that theme going, even though science marches forward.
Yeah. And
it is interesting the little changes that they try to make towards more accurate stuff here and there over the progression of the movies. And then we get something like Guido, where they were just like, fuck it. Just send it out. Like, these dumb kids don't know what a Microraptor is anyway. Like,
which is ridiculous, because children are the first people to correct you on dinosaurs. So.
CK, growing up. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
What I was thinking about that is, but yeah, when everybody is getting ready to go to sleep in the nest, and Petri's getting in his corner, and Guido comes over, and he's like, "I'll help you. Like, I'll do this for you, and I'll help you prepare." I just love how Petri is so, like, Petri goes from being very excited bringing his friend home, to being like, "Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
good night." Just very much like, dude, don't talk to me. I'm napping.
Yeah.
But, okay. So the next day, Sarah is watching Tria play with the new baby, who has a name now, Trisha. Mm-hmm. Tria asks Sarah to watch Trisha for a bit while she goes off to do three-horn stuff? I don't know. It's not like she's going shopping.
That's kind of the equivalent.
It is. It very much is the equivalent. Anyways.
They just needed that moment.
Yeah, they needed the moment to have Sarah bond with Trisha, which she does.
Yeah.
Sarah and Trisha get some sibling time together, and Sarah tries to be unimpressed with Trisha's basic mastery of her newborn body, but even Sarah thinks Trisha is cute, and that is until Trisha wanders off and Sarah chases after her. Sarah scoops Trisha up and takes her back to the nest, but gets poked in the eye by, is it Trisha's foot? Like she's she's like kicking her feet.
Yeah, I think it's her foot.
Sarah scoops her up with her front face, so Trisha's resting on her nose with the horn, like keeping her anchored in place so she doesn't slide.
Yeah.
And Trisha's flailing about and she kicks Sarah in the eye.
Yeah, I think it was that she kicks her and not that her little nub hits her. I can't remember.
Actually, it might have been the nub.
It might have been the nub.
I think it was the nub, actually.
Yeah, the little nubby horn.
And
which should have been a much harder thing for Sarah to come back from. But...
Remember, eye tissue is the fastest healing tissue in the body.
True,
well, I mean, that's for humans.
but...
I don't know about other things.
I think it is.
But yes, so Sarah gets poked in the eye and drops the baby. Tria comes back from whatever the fuck she was doing and is all, "What happened?" And Sarah explains that Trisha made a break for it, but Sarah caught her and was bringing her back, but got poked in the eye and dropped the baby. Tria and Topsy make a big deal about how advanced Trisha is.
For running.
What with her running already. Topsy makes the remark that Trisha is the best hatchling there ever was. And Sarah is like, "Gee, thanks."
Yep.
And stomps off. We see Trisha getting sad at her sister leaving.
Which I love that.
I like
love
that too.
That Trisha is just immediately like, everything that my sibling does is cool.
So,
I love that.
I don't know how old... I don't know what the age equivalency Sarah's character is supposed to represent, but my sister... I'm 10 years older than my sister, so... With this movie, I kind of relate to an extent, except I didn't have any like sibling fear replacement. I was excited that I was going to have a sister, kind of thing. But yeah, growing up, my sister, at certain points in her life, would absolutely want to do whatever I was doing. Whatever. Like she would play with my monster toys, instead of like Barbies and stuff like that. And so I really liked that aspect. And there was a period of time where, like, if I left the house, my sister would cry because she was like, because I left, and it was just like heartwarming. It was like, oh, they love me, And then you come back and they're all happy.
Yeah, and I think that is sort of the dynamic, is that it's supposed to be that big of a separation of sibling ages, because Sarah strikes me as 10, 11-ish, the way that her attitude is. Not the rest of the kids, just Sarah, which Sarah's one of the younger ones in chronology of who was hatching, so she shouldn't be the oldest, but she acts like the oldest, so, yeah, I would think it's about that same age dynamic, and it just is really heartwarming because it's adorable.
It is adorable. And it's one of my favorite parts of this movie is watching Sarah interact with her sister. And it
should have been the whole movie.
And they're short scenes, which is unfortunate because then we get more Guido.
Yeah, no, the whole movie should have been Sarah and her sister.
Lauren's takeaway from this movie: fuck Guido.
And like, if I remember right, there are more moments like this in the TV series with Sarah and Trisha, because Trisha comes back in future movies.
And the Nibblings died off screen, so they needed a new baby dinosaur.
I don't know what happened to the Nibblings, but...
Yeah, no, they died of exposure to those volcanic vents that they were telling ghost stories around.
They died of... Wait, how are they Sarah's... Are they Sarah's Nibblings? Poof, poof.
Oh, okay. We cut back to the baby gang, who is eating food when a pissed off Sarah comes into the picture and squishes Ducky under a bush. The baby gang prods Sarah on her bitchier than usual attitude, and Sarah is like, "What? What do I have to be upset about? My parents just think the baby is the greatest, and they're ignoring me." And Baby Steps is like, "At least you have parents."
Yeah.
And then Sarah launches into a song about how things changing sucks. All while her friends try to be like, "Hey, you can teach the baby stuff. Maybe change is good." And Sarah's attitude brightens a bit, and the song ends.
And I will say, she did a good job singing.
Yeah.
Because she always she and Ducky's voice actresses, there's reasons that they're good voice actresses. And that song was pretty good compared to the rest of the songs in the movie.
Overall, because that's the thing too, is like so many times you get these songs where it really does feel like there's no music and the person is singing, and then they're like, we'll just put the music in later, and so it doesn't line up.
Yeah.
It doesn't coalesce well. It feels weird.
Yeah.
And then you get times where other people are just kind of singing like this, even if it's not their character. And,
yeah.
And then there's times that the music is just atrocious. But anyways, this particular bit of singing was good by comparison.
Yeah,
to the
and lyrics were okay.
Lyrics were okay.
It's a Land Before Time movie.
I'm not going to go out and get the soundtrack. I'm not going to look for it on a streaming service. I'm not going to put it on a playlist.
Nah.
Yeah. So the scene cuts to that night, I guess, and Guido trying to give Petri a pep talk about how he's going to fly and do great. And all the flyer children take off and fly and do pretty well. And Petri doesn't fuck up, at least that we see. We get a brief moment of Sarah going back to her family, and she smiles seeing her sister. It cuts immediately back to Petri and his family sitting in a tree, eating leaves. And Petri throws...
Yeah.
If people are keeping track, Petri is not a leaf eater. His species would be eating bugs and
fish,
carcasses and
small
fish.
Animals.
They're predators.
Ducky.
They're meat. Exactly. Petri's mom should be feeding the siblings some of Ducky's siblings.
I had 13. Oh, me no.
No.
Do you want to try some of what Mom cooked?
Okay, yes. So Petri and his family are in a tree eating leaves, and Petri throws a leaf down to Guido, who instead eats the worm that's crawling on the leaf. And the others, meaning Petri and his sibling, are like, ew. Which, these non-herbivorous fucks. The scene cuts to Sarah again. And as she's watching her sister and smiles, and then the scene cuts back to the flyers again. Like this part, it just is like, it's like 10 seconds on one, 10 seconds on, like it's just back and forth. So if anybody's listening, they're like, Warren sure is going back and forth a lot. That's because they were going back and forth a lot. So yeah, the scene cuts back to Sarah again as she's watching her sister and smiles, and then the scene cuts back to the flyers again doing flying. And then back to the three horns as Tria wakes up and sees Trisha missing, and she freaks out briefly until she sees that Trisha and Sarah are snuggling. And then she chills out and goes back to sleep, which I love that.
That was so cute!
Which I love that because, in a parent brain, like, you waking up and you go to, like, just kind of glance over and check at the baby, and the baby's not where they should be, and you're like, oh no, and then you look over and the baby is snuggling with the other kid, and you're like, oh, like, not only are you relieved, but you're touched. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
And I liked that. I like that. Anything that deals with, like, older sibling and younger sibling always hits me. Just being a brother. That stuff always hits me, and I'm like, oh.
They could have... Okay. Kay's about to rewrite this. Movie focuses more on Sarah and Trisha. But because they're trying to introduce new dino, we do still have Guido, but he's well designed. And it's more of they're trying to get him back home. And so Sarah is, and they've got it all planned out when they're going to take him back. We know that the sharp teeth aren't in this area at this time. And so Sarah at first is like, oh, well, fuck it, I'm gonna go off with my friends. And then it's like, oh, well, I've actually grown to really love being around my siblings, so I've gotta go, but you stay here. And Trisha has her whole, oh, I'm going to toddle after you, that she does later. And then that can be the whole conflict is, oh gosh, we've got to get Trisha home now. But...
No, what it even makes me think of is the second Rugrats. The first Rugrats movie, where Tommy initially doesn't give a shit about his brother, and then they bond over their shared experience.
Yeah.
Like, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
And it was a plot that makes sense and has real-world basis because of the dynamics between siblings and how varied they can be. And rather than have that good plot, they're like, this is a subplot. The real star of the show is Guido.
Yeah, no.
You're going places, kid. Going places, you hear? You're going to the West Valley, where they put your face up on the cliff walls. That's a face for cliff walls, I tell ya.
It's a face for something.
For extinction.
Yeah. God. Like, they should have focused the whole movie on Sarah and Trisha. The movie should have been Sarah and Trisha as the A plot, whatever else as the B plot. Because the Trisha and Sarah story is more interesting. Mm-hmm. The Petri story is just...
Every time and the Petri one too, I'm like, that plot it's not as good as the Trisha one. But every time Guido is on screen, I'm just like, that animation abomination, just get him out of my eyeballs. I don't want to see Guido.
Should have been scrambled.
Oh, freaking Guido. Okay,
so bad.
After the touching slumber scene with the Ceratops sisters, the scene cuts back to the Flyers and Petri coming in for a landing, and he sticks the landing. His siblings rally around him and give him backhanded compliments.
God.
Yeah, you didn't fuck up this time.
Yeah.
The family is rushed off and sees Guido hanging back and sulking. And then they rush to him, embrace him, and tell him to hurry up because he's part of the family. So, as far as Guido and his character, like, it is, since we have to have Guido, it is nice to see that the family is acknowledging that Guido is trying to help.
Yeah.
And that they're welcoming of him into their family since Guido is one of a kind and doesn't have anybody. Mm-hmm. So that is touching.
Yes.
That's all I will say on it because fucking hate Guido.
Yep.
That night, under the cover of darkness, Guido apparently sleepwalks and steps on Petri as he does, then just fucking falls out of the nest. Petri gives chase and follows Guido on his midnight walk.
And the whole conceit with this is that, like, suddenly Guido will be further along than they thought he was going to be and stuff like that. Like,
yeah. So, Baby Steps is woken up by the passing Petri, who is still following Guido. Petri is like,
the great day of the Flyers is tomorrow. I need to get my Flyer sleep, so don't fuck things up.
Guido continues sleepwalking and steps all over Thag's back and Ducky's face. The gang keeps following Guido, and Ducky explains that her mom sleep swims sometimes, and that she beats her if she wakes her up, so they shouldn't wake up Guido. Just keep following him.
I wasn't expecting them to do a Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, but here we are.
I don't get that reference, but that's okay.
We've watched it once, but we'll watch it again sometime.
Ducky rushes off to
somnambulist!
Ducky rushes off to get Sarah because they don't want her to be left out of any adventures on account of Sarah and her temper. However, Sarah is not amused and bitches about them waking her up just to follow Guido while he's sleepwalking. The gang sees Guido heading for the river, and they decide to get into the water and use their heads as a bridge for Guido to cross the river. The gang then comes to some lava and decide to use their bodies as a bridge to redirect him away from the hot death.
Damn.
I'm just sitting here like, hey, this is a perfect solution. Knock that asshole into the lava, go back home.
No one's gonna miss him.
Remember, he's one of a kind. No one's gonna come looking for a body. No police report will be filed. Anyway, the gang continues following Guido, who now is heading for a chasm. The gang decides to roll a downed log down the hill and lodge it in the chasm so it can be a bridge. The entire gang almost dies during the log rolling, but at least Guido can get across now.
Fuck.
Anyways, the baby gang almost dies as the log bridge comes loose and falls into the chasm. The gang, tired but alive, rest for a bit, but quickly scramble to their feet to try and save Guido, who again is heading for the chasm. But this time, Guido falls to his death. Yay! But not really. Aww. Because Guido sleep flies his way out of the chasm, much to the amazement of the baby gang. Guido's sleep flight takes him out of the Great Valley and into the desolate, mysterious beyond.
He has to go protect the towers.
Have I told that story on the podcast?
No, you have not.
So, speaking of sleep, well, I was going to say speaking of sleep flying, but sleepwalking, Kay and I were up at Mama Kay's house, house sitting for her one time when she was out of town for something, and all of a sudden, I wake up, and I'm on the couch, and Kay's like, Warren, what are you doing out here? And I just blurt out, I have to protect the towers. And then as I say that, my brain catches up to me and goes, what the fuck did you just say? And I'm like, Kay, why am I out here on the couch? I don't know, Warren. Let's go back to bed.
Yeah, you've sleptwalked a couple of times, but that is the best story.
The other one that I remember vividly was, for whatever reason, I came out of our room and went and lay on the couch, and like one of your jackets was out here, and I'm laying on the couch, and I'm cold, and I'm like shivering, and I reach over and I grab your jacket, and I'm trying to use it as a blanket to shield me, and then I all of a sudden come to, I'm like, why the fuck am I on the couch? And I just go back into the bedroom. I'm like, what the fuck? Sleepwalking is weird.
Yep.
So, yes, Guido's sleep flighting takes him out of the Great Valley and into the mysterious beyond. The baby gang gives chase, even after they're like, but Petri, it's almost daytime, and it's the day of the Great Flyers. If you go into the mysterious beyond, you might not make it back in time. And Petri is like,
Me no care. Guido is friend.
and they go after Guido. Speaking of Guido, we see him gliding into the mysterious beyond and landing on a sleeping Sharptooth. I mean, Guido doesn't know that yet, but we do, because predictably, or I should say predictability.
That and, that's animated different than the rest of the background.
The terrain that he landed on sure does appear to be in a different animation style than the stagnant background. I wonder what this can indicate.
I'm
Look
okay
out!
with that trope.
Look out! He's in an animation cell! So, yes. Anyways, Guido snaps out of his sleep flight and calls out to Petri and the others, thinking that this is some sort of sick prank. But the Sharptooth Guido is isn't in the mood for pranks, and wakes up and starts trying to eat him. The Sharptooth of the day is Spinosaur, that is missing some digits and has a tiny fin, so par for the course with these movies, because fuck any amount of effort to design accuracy.
My hell. I mean, by that point, we knew enough to know that that's not just...
It also made me laugh that they're like, Spinosaurus has this fin, and this long snout that was used for catching fish. I know! Put him in the desert.
Yeah.
Near no bodies of water.
Yeah.
Like, Spinosaurus would have been a much better predator for, like, the was it 9th or 8th movie with the dolphin thing?
Anyway,
9th. Yeah, that would have been a better predator to have a Spinosaurus, and it would have made fucking sense, because they were around the water.
Oh, but they needed to have Liopleurodon.
Magical Liopleurodon.
Anyways, the Sharptooth chomps at Guido, but Guido is able to escape using one of his it chomps Guido, as in it gets him in his mouth. But Guido is able to escape the mouth using one of his feathers to tickle the inside of the Spino's mouth and make it laugh. Guido, all spit-covered in shit, leaps out of the mouth and is rescued by Petri, who flies around a bit, evading the Spino, and asks Guido why he can't fly himself. But Guido doesn't know he can fly, so yeah. The rest of the gang watches as the Flyers lead the Spino into some rocks where he gets trapped, giving the baby gang enough time to regroup and flee. Back at the Flyer nest, Mama Flyer wakes up her children, telling them that it's the big day. And as they wake up, they're like, "Hey, where is Petri, the pitiful and useless?" Back at the baby gang, they're marching and all, "Well, we'll get you back in time, Petri.
And Guido is like, I still don't know how I got way out here into the mysterious beyond. And the baby gang is like, you can fly, you dense shit. And Guido is like, how strange do you think I am? And they all contemplate murdering him for a minute. And I really wish they would.
Yeah.
Like, Guido is so annoying because it's like, how did this happen? You flew out here. What? No, I didn't. How did this happen? You flew out here. Hold out your arms. See these weird spiky things protruding? They somehow help you fly.
Mm-hmm.
But how did I? Guido, the non-flighting animal, get out here. Look at my lips, you poorly drawn fuck. You flew.
So, I just had a realization. They've seen birds.
What? Have they?
Icky.
Oh, you're right. Oh my, why, what? Why did they not drive Guido to be more like Icky? And he was animated so much better. He looked so much better.
There have been Archaeopteryx and background things. That
Oh
means
my
the
God.
kids have seen Archaeopteryx. They have seen Ichthyornis.
They have seen things like him.
They have
my
they have
God.
seen things like Guido.
So even more of an example of how continuity doesn't matter in these things because they oh my God.
It just hit me like a ton of bricks.
That
This
could have been a-
fucking series.
That could have been a great reference. Like, oh, he looked like, because that was where they go to get the night flower.
Yes.
That they encounter that guy. Like they could have even made a reference like that. Oh, he kind of looks like that sharp tooth that tried to eat it. Like, you're not a sharp tooth, are you? He's like, I don't know, am I? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but that makes me even more fucking furious about the way that they drew this piece of shit.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh, fuck you, movie.
Yep.
God damn it, Kay. I am so angry now. I'm so mad. I was way more mad now than I was when we started.
I'm angry on the inside because I don't want to blow out the mic. I
Okay.
fucking hate it.
Okay. Where am I? Back at the baby gang. They're Okay, no, yeah, with that, you dense shit. You flew here, you stupid motherfucker, listening to what we're telling you. Listen to our goddamn words, you waste of space, you poorly drawn animated atrocity.
They should have known right away he could fly.
They should have. They should
Fuck.
have. They absolutely should have.
This shouldn't have been the story.
God damn it. Petri. Let's go back to Petri. You know what? Petri is not my least favorite character in this film. It's Guido.
It's Guido.
Okay, Petri is fretting about not getting back in time to show off how he can fly like everyone else, and Guido gives the good old moral of, don't try to be like everyone else, just be you. And Petri is like, yeah, be like Petri. And Petri sees the flyer judges heading out, and Baby Steps tells Petri to go on without us, and we'll make it back in time to cheer you on. Petri does make it back in time, and his siblings are like, you almost fucked this day up, Petri. Just fly like us. Don't be your shitty self. Conform to the rest of us. And Petri is like, Petri is gonna fly like Petri. And the others are like, fuck, he was given an inspirational speech by someone. And the flyer siblings take off to showcase their flying skills. We see the others in the baby gang as they continue the journey home, and we see Trisha, who wandered off at some point, where my eyes were away from the TV and on my notes. So she's there, doing stuff, alone, but not in danger. In fact, she's chasing a dragonfly. You get that dragonfly, Trisha, you cute pink trike. Back in the sky, Petri is doing well, and he starts to get really confident and breaks formation to do some aerial tricks. At first, his siblings are like, stop it, Petri, you're gonna fuck this up. And Petri doesn't. And when his siblings start copying all of Petri's aerial maneuvers, and we get the Flip, Flap, and Fly song, which has like a kind of 50s beach theme to its music, I want to say. And it's an okay song, I guess.
I wouldn't want to watch 3 minutes of it.
No, I feel like they put the most effort into this song because it has the most high energy and the most animation while it's going on. So it's like, this is our 11 o'clock number, everyone!
Yeah.
Like, pull out all the stops! Flip. No, I almost went into the...
Flip, flap, and fly.
Yeah, I almost went into the Chicken Run one because that one's better.
It is better. Because I'm pretty sure that it's probably from a actual artist before Chicken Run.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, the Flip, Flap, and Fly song ends, and we cut to Trisha chasing the dragonfly right into a river, and she screams as she's carried away by the raging river. The adult three-horns scramble to follow the screaming, and Guido sees Trisha and is like,
"Oh, if only there was something I could do to help."
And we get the echo of voices from both us, the audience, and the baby gang from earlier, telling Guido that he can fly. And Guido is like,
"I guess I'll try."
And he jumps off a tree and is almost dashed upon the jagged rocks, but is able to open his wings just in time, and he flies away to save Trisha. But not really.
Yeah.
He swoops down and grabs Trisha out of the river, but forgets that he needs his wings to fly. So he uses his wing arms to grab her, but now his wing arms are occupied, and so he can no longer fly.
I mean, that's because they drew his feet in a way that they can't grip.
Yeah. And then he falls into the river and is swept away. Pete, and now we have two people in distress. So,
listeners, if you are unable to help somebody, try to get someone else to help. Don't try to go and rescue a person that's drowning, because they will try to pull you under as well. Have somebody who is trained to do it. Are you a lifeguard? No, you're not a fucking lifeguard. Therefore, don't go out there, because now the lifeguard's gonna have to rescue two motherfuckers.
So Petri grabs Trisha and Guido as they're falling off the waterfall, and before Petri can become yet another deadweight casualty, his siblings come in and pile up, forming one full-sized pterosaur. And so you got like a string of pterosaurs on one side of Petri and a string on the other, so it makes like this giant V shape of small pterosaurs.
Perhaps multiple pterosaurs carried them together. Then they'd have to run a line through them.
You fool, a pterosaur can't carry a microraptor and a baby triceratops. What about 20 pterosaurs working together? Just tie them together with a bit of string. So yes, and together they're able to fly to safety, sorta. They drop Trisha, who falls, but Sarah catches her at the very last moment. The rest of the baby flyers land on the ground like tired paper airplanes. Sarah's parents thank Guido for saving Trisha, even though he didn't really do anything but become yet another burden needing rescue. Baby Steps asks the Flyers if they're disqualified and will have to do the Great Day of the Flyers again. They all just kind of shrug and are like,
We saved a baby and a freaky creep, so we kind of had fun.
And Mama Flyer comes down after letting out a horrifying shriek. She comes in to tell the kids that she's very proud of them, and that because of them, the Day of the Flyers will never be the same. Yay for breaking tradition!
Whoop-de-fucking-do.
The narrator comes in to be like, change happened on this day of change, and things happened at the place of things. And stuff happened in the Great Valley. The end. It has one of the most abrupt endings ever.
What I love is as they're panning away, you're seeing the dinosaur crowd, but they're all like the rendered T-posed models that we saw from the last movie.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
So
one good thing, though, happened at some point in these movies. We had Trisha's in this movie, we had Trisha's first word. Sarah!
That's right.
And it was so cute.
It
and
was really cute. And her
again,
parents were like, oh, like,
yeah,
all
like,
excited
oh,
and stuff.
she loves Sarah.
One thing that I forgot to mention is during the Great Day of the Flyer stuff, when Petri is breaking formation to like do barrel rolls and aerial maneuvers and stuff, and I guess it's actually because that is what leads into the flip, flap, and fly. Mm-hmm. Because, or is it flip, flop, and fly? Whatever.
Flip, flap, and fly.
Flip, flap. Whatever the flap song is. Yes, but it leads into that, and as everybody's singing and like doing these aerial tricks, the judges and like
join in,
and the older adults who are watching start doing that too. So they start having fun flying. It's not just flying to show that you can fly. It's flying for fun. And that's when the mom comes in and is like, you've changed this day forever.
Yeah.
Which it's like, wait, so did they pass? Or does it not matter because they learned that flying can be fun and not just for transportation? Anyway, the narrator is here to say that things changed on this day of change.
Yeah.
That's a line, listeners.
Yes.
Change happened on this day of change.
Yes, it is.
First draft. These first draft motherfuckers.
Yep.
Everything is a first draft.
Yep.
So, okay. That movie had a really lame guest dinosaur who is based on a really cool dinosaur. Who is the next lame guest dinosaur that's based on a cool dinosaur? I'm not familiar with that type of dinosaur. Is that the noise they make? Or is that the sound that they make when your love for them dies because you see how they're bastardized in children's media?
So, our next one covers a dinosaur in the Therizinosaurid line, and I'll say the name of it because it's not going to be a guessing. It's going to be Beipiaosaurus. And audience, I want you to look up our Beipiaosaurus, and in fact, I will spell for you Beipiaosaurus so that you can look this up. It is BeAnArtsHero. Beipiaosaurus. I want you to look up Beipiaosaurus, and you'll see that it's a cool-looking therizinosaur. It's got some feathers. It's a little shaggy.
I looked up the Beipiaosaurus,
Yes.
Mrs. Teacher Person.
Now I want everyone to look up our next movie, which is The Land Before Time XIII, The Wisdom of Friends. Warren will do that here.
Oh, I spelled wisdom wrong because I'm very tired and I don't... Yeah. Oh, God, that's right. Oh, God. Why? Why? Why do these... No. Ugh.
Yeah. So we are going to be covering the next feathered, in quotes, dinosaur that they put in one of these movies, Beipiaosaurus. We'll be covering that in The Land Before Time XIII, The Wisdom of Friends. As the DVD box cover says, all kids will enjoy this adventure. Fuck you.
That's some bold claims there. You know, I do kind of wish that we had access to, like, multiverse technology, because I would pay money to watch young you watching some of these movies, because I could see, like, because you as a kid devouring dinosaur books and, like, and not like storybooks, like encyclopedia, like research paper level stuff. Kay would be reading stuff like that. To watch you not enjoy it, just to like look at the movie cover and just give it the finger.
I mean, by the time that this came out, so if you dropped that in 90s K's hands, because Beipiaosaurus and other dinosaurs like that, you know, you weren't seeing them feathered yet. So, you know, it's like, oh, okay, these are kind of dumb-looking, pot-bellied theropods. But then when you realize that, oh, they had these wicked cool claws, and oh, they're fucking feathered all over, and I probably wouldn't have had quite the fuck you. Now, if it was 90s K getting the information from 2021 K, or 2006 K, or 2004 K, then yes, it would be 90s K flipping off the DVD cover like, that's not what they look like.
Then again, I could imagine you, like, with the times that we've had, like, sharp teeth with weird hands, and so I still think about the one that had the hand that was transitioning. It had, like, 2 claws, then 3, then back to 2 in, like, the same frame of animation.
Those did bother me as a kid.
Oh.
Those did bother me.
Well, I think it's about time we wrap this up,
Oh,
because
thank God.
I need to go try and purge the memory of Guido from my skull.
Me too. Thank you all so much for listening and sticking with us this episode.
If you would like to reach out to Kay and myself, you can do so at our home base, which is tonedeafmusical.com. There we have links to all of our social medias, our Instagrams, our Facebooks, our Twitters. I almost forgot what social media was. All is Guido. If you want to join the discussion and talk about how much you also hate Guido and how Microraptor was done dirty in a very bad way, we have our own Not Safe for Work channel on the Cast Junkie Discord server, link on our website, and you can come and share your hatred for Guido, the shittiest guest star dinosaur so far. So far. I feel like the bar is so incredibly low right now, as long as the next 2 motherfuckers don't trip over it. They're gonna be an ass hair above Guido.
Oh, God. If you want to Guido above and beyond and help out this show, you can go to iTunes, Podchaser, Stitcher, and leave a 5-star review and say how much you wish that Microraptor hadn't been done dirty.
Yeah, leave your review for our show and say, fuck Guido, love Tone Deaf.
Say Microraptor deserved better. If you want to go above and beyond that, you can go to our Patreon, which is Tone Deaf Musical. There we have different tiers that you can donate at. You can listen to our bonus episodes that are free of Guido the Microraptor. If you want a tangible way to show your love, but no Guido the Microraptor, you can do that by going to our TeePublic, where we do not have any Guido the Microraptor shirts.
Now I'm just sitting here like, do you think we could get away with a fuck Guido shirt?
No. No, we couldn't.
How about a fuck Guido sticker? We'll have them in a pack, and they'll be little ones so that you can just fucking put them everywhere. And it'll be like a better version of Who's John Galt. It'll be like, what is this fuck Guido? Who's putting these fuck Guido stickers all over this kindergarten?
I fucking hate that that's the name. I hate that that's the name so goddamn much. Mm-hmm. My Italian ancestry on my mom's side is just screaming.
I'm just like, how did nobody go, guys, did you know that that's a slur for Italian people?
Like, it's not the worst one.
No,
but it's not the equivalent. But
Guido,
it's
please.
Not great.
It's not an term of endearment.
No, it ain't. I think it's because they decided, okay, we've decided Italians are white now. But anyway, you can support us in different ways. You can agree with us that there was a shitty name for the Microraptor too. I know that you like your puns, Land Before Time, but no.
Why didn't you just call him Gui?
Or Mike.
Anything
else. Anyway, Tiny. They could have called him Tiny. Because he's micro. Tiny. Dinosaur Train hadn't come out yet. Anyway.
Or you could, or you know who's someone who's also shitty, just call him Mike Rowe. I'm gonna give myself a hand for that joke. Because I'm funny, guys.
Don't put that on my Microraptors. Anyway, that'll be it for this week. Thank you all for listening. I'm Kay.
I'm Warren.
This has been
Tone Deaf.